Today, the calendar reads April 21st, 2026. And right now, as we broadcast this, the final negotiating table that will determine the world's fate has been set up in Pakistan's capital. But today, I won't be talking about those ornate diplomatic files on the table. Instead, I'll tell you about the real weapons hidden right beneath it, buried meters deep underground. The nature of war as you know it has completely changed. We are right in the middle of an asymmetric war, where the new front lines are no longer borders, the sky, or the seas, but rather the underground and cyber networks. We will discuss how Iran's underground empire, meticulously woven over the years, has now fully activated, and how the missile cities beneath Granite mountains have awakened. We will examine, with supporting documents, how that $2 million ransom system, which the global public learned about in shock just a couple of weeks ago, is now being played as a blackmail card at the table. If you're ready, let's enter this dizzying geopolitical tunnel together, stretching from Washington to Tehran, and from there to that tense table in Pakistan. It all began after those massive air operations. What does a state do when it realizes it has completely lost control of the skies? It goes underground. Remember those shocking reports reflected in international media? Right in the heart of Tehran, the foundations of its first ever defensive tunnel were laid in 2024, immediately following those intense Israeli and US attacks. At the time, some claimed this was just an ordinary civil defense project. But geopolitical analysis doesn't work that way, dear viewers. Time has proven the intelligence reports correct. Those massive concrete labyrinths whose foundations were laid yesterday have now transformed into a fully operational underground empire. This project directly connects the underground metro network with major state hospitals and civilian residential centers. What is the goal? It's very simple, and just as shocking: the human shield strategy. You may possess the world's most advanced bunker-busting bombs, and you may know exactly where the enemy's military commanders are. But if there's a hospital filled with civilians right above those tunnels, you cannot pull the trigger. This system, integrated with the metro network, allows the leadership to move swiftly beneath the city. The nature of war has changed, viewers. The enemy is no longer on the horizon. It's advancing right beneath our feet. Is it only the command staff going underground? Of course not. Those famous missile cities, built deep within the heart of Granite mountains over the years to launch missiles, had their entrances sealed shut during recent operations. Even if the ammunition depots inside remained intact, the gates of those massive mountains had turned into piles of concrete. But war leaves no gaps. Recent satellite images released to the international press, particularly Asian-based news agencies, revealed a chilling engineering operation. Iran has deployed those massive excavators to the Granite mountains in Tabriz and Khomeini. The goal? To reopen the entrances to those sealed missile cities. The Institute for the Study of War, ISW, summarizes this situation very clearly. Ceasefire processes are not a step back for Iran. They are a tactical breathing space gained to reorganize its missiles underground and modernize its systems. Let's clearly see the picture before us. On one side, a political front delivering messages of peace at the diplomatic table. On the other, a military system preparing to tear apart the heart of the Granite mountains with excavators and bring ballistic missile launch pads back into the open. It is precisely this dual strategy that explains why the table set today is so tense. Let's now turn our attention to that historic table established in Pakistan on April 21st. Today is April 21st, 2026. Right now in Pakistan, the crisis between the US and Iran may be reaching its final diplomatic turning point. This negotiation table, established after months of tension, is no ordinary diplomatic engagement. Looking at US President Donald Trump's latest statements, it is clear that Washington's patience has run out. The Trump administration unequivocally rejects previous nuclear agreements, JCPOA. In their view, those agreements were not a path to peace, but merely a highway leading to a nuclear weapon. The condition Washington has placed on the table in Pakistan is extremely harsh: the physical removal of uranium from the country in exchange for the release of $20 billion in frozen funds. If this does not happen, a warning has been issued in the strongest terms that hostilities could resume exactly where they left off, and in an even more destructive manner. In other words, we are discussing the handover of that massive nuclear project Iran has been working on for several decades to the US. So, did Tehran come to the table empty-handed? Absolutely not. The Iranian side has been consistently mentioning that it has been preparing new cards over the past 2 weeks. It is speculated that the most significant card could involve new moves in the strategically vital Strait of Bab el-Mandeb. Dear viewers, do you think real peace will emerge from this summit in Pakistan? Or are these tables merely set up to buy time before the next major storm? I look forward to your in-depth analytical comments below. I will read every single one personally. We need to make a very critical point here, dear viewers. Why not Europe? Why not Geneva? Why Pakistan? Because the Islamabad table is not just an ordinary diplomatic venue. Pakistan is the only neighbor that shares a massive 900-kilometer border with Iran and is also a nuclear-armed state. The US administration chose Islamabad to send this message to Iran. We've come to your neighbor's home, the one who knows best what nuclear power means, to make you abandon this dream. The details of that $20 billion secret deal draft leaked by Axios actually show just how resolute and uncompromising Washington's stance has become. Do you know what the issue is? The US administration isn't just asking Iran to halt nuclear enrichment or seal its facilities. The condition put on the table by the Trump administration is so clear. You will physically place all the highly enriched uranium stockpiles you have enriched to date into storage vaults. You will load it onto planes and deliver that uranium directly to us outside the country. What's in it for them? $20 billion, a literal lifeline for Tehran, whose economy is on the brink of collapse, with funds frozen in South Korea, Iraq, and Europe. The Iranian delegation is currently in Islamabad, forced to make the most difficult decision in history. Should they take the $20 billion and save their collapsing economy? Or hand over that nuclear stockpile, for which they've spent billions of dollars over the years, and lost scientists, into the hands of American cargo planes? This is like drinking a poisoned chalice for a nation. However, if they refuse to drink that cup, it is clear that Washington will not back down, and sanctions will enter an even more devastating phase. The global public was shocked to learn just a week or two ago about the allegations of a shadowy transit fee in the Strait of Hormuz. At the time, it was speculated that this might be a local act of harassment. However, today, at the negotiating table in Pakistan, there are admissions proving that this is not an allegation, but an official state policy. Iran has effectively announced to the world that it is imposing new rules in the Strait of Hormuz after 47 years. The picture made official by Iranian MP Boroujerdi's confession is this. A massive one-time transit fee of $2 million is being collected from certain ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz. This is not a routine toll fee. This is Iran's message to the world. I cannot close the strait with missiles, so I will control it with bills. Sovereignty over this sea belongs to me. This is the most concrete proof of those new cards Iran claims to have been preparing over the past 2 weeks. In military literature, this action is called a sovereignty fee. Tehran is sitting at the table in Pakistan with this card. You can freeze my funds, but I'll create my own funds from the lifeblood of global trade. Dear viewers, if we interpret this $2 million toll system merely as Iran is extorting money from a few ships, we will fail to see the real disaster. Do you know how global maritime trade works? Through insurance companies. What do the massive London-based insurance companies do the moment they hear that a government has officially imposed a $2 million transit fee in the Strait of Hormuz? They declare that region a high-risk war zone. Imagine you're a ship captain. Your ship is carrying $100 million worth of oil. You're approaching the strait. Iranian Coast Guard radio announces, either pay $2 million or we'll seize your ship. If you pay that money, you'll be violating international sanctions, and your accounts in Western banks will be frozen. If you don't pay, your ship will be seized, and you'll lose your cargo. This is a classic catch-22, a no-win situation. What's the outcome? The world's largest shipping companies will completely stop using that route. That vital artery, through which 20 million barrels of oil pass daily, will be blocked. This means factories in not just the US, but also China, Europe, and Japan will grind to a halt. This is the foundation of the strategy Iran refers to as, "We've prepared new cards." Tehran aims to instantly transform its own problem into a global inflation and energy crisis. By globalizing its crisis, it seeks to gain leverage against the US at the negotiating table. However, Washington has made it abundantly clear at every opportunity that it will not yield to this blackmail diplomacy. So what is the digital counterpart of this blackmail carried out through missiles and extortion? Let's delve into that terrifying cyber front. We've discussed missiles underground and extortion systems on the seas. But there is another front, one far quieter and far more destructive than missiles. In the past few hours, an official statement was released that shook the international intelligence community. The Israeli intelligence agency Mossad and the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, simultaneously revealed one of the most shadowy units of the Iranian Revolutionary Guards to the world. Meet Unit 4000. Unit 4000 is not an infantry brigade. They are Iran's invisible hand beyond its borders, a unit dedicated to global cyber warfare and the sabotage of critical infrastructure. According to this unique Mossad report, Unit 4000's primary targets include critical energy arteries such as the Baku-Tbilisi-Ceyhan pipelines, natural gas facilities supplying Europe, and water treatment centers. The cyber attack warnings recently issued by the US also confirm this picture. This is the clearest evidence that the war has shifted to offshore cyber platforms. Missiles may seem to have fallen silent, but cyber codes are currently attempting to infiltrate infrastructure facilities across the border. Dear viewers, let's summarize. Reading the situation before us merely as a diplomatic crisis between the US and Iran is the greatest strategic blind spot one could make. The concept of the Third Islamic Republic, highlighted in those unique articles in Foreign Affairs, is taking shape right before our eyes today. The real battle unfolding around that table set up in Pakistan is that of a state that has long since lost air superiority in the skies, completely transforming the nature of war to survive. Iran has thrown classical military doctrines out the window. It does not face its enemy with tanks or aircraft. They have shifted the war directly to the underground, the gray areas of maritime trade law, and cyber networks. Command centers beneath hospitals, ballistic missiles inside Granite mountains, multi-million-dollar transit fees in the Strait of Hormuz, and cyber brigades targeting energy lines. In the Middle East, the era of brute force has ended. A new age of resilience, secrecy, and asymmetric attrition warfare has begun. The signatures that may or may not be signed in Pakistan today will determine not just the fate of a nuclear program, but that of this new asymmetric war order. We will continue to present to you at this table not just what the news is, but the tectonic shifts beneath it and the deep codes of geopolitics. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and like our video to help spread this truth to more people. I'm Charlie. Keep your mind and strategic vision sharp at all times. See you in the next in-depth analysis. Stay safe.